Okay, so as we've been saying, there are a couple of diplomatic discussions going on a couple of different plans for trying to get Syria to give up its chemical weapons. The French have tabled the first version of a draft resolution, which is being discussed, but the Russians have their own proposals. Let's talk about these diplomatic discussions a little further with US Senator John McCain, who joins us now from Washington. Senator, good to have you on the programme. So first of all, tell us your thoughts on the Russian deal to the Syrian government to give up their chemical weapons. I know you've said that you're very sceptical about this offer. Why is that?
Well, I'm very skeptical because it's Russians who are supplying plane load after plane load of arms and weapons to Bashar Assad, and I believe that a good indication of their insincerity. Yesterday, they said that a French resolution before the Security Council was, quote, unacceptable. Vladimir Putin stated that the United States would have to renounce the use of force, which is also unacceptable. And so I'm very skeptical, but I am willing to give it a chance to succeed, but not long.
So do you think President Obama is right to delay the vote in Congress to see if anything can come from these initiatives?
Well, I think so, particularly since the vote was most likely to be, the resolution was most likely to be defeated. I think he probably did, but again, the Russians have never done anything but veto resolutions in the Security Council, and so I think we have every reason to be very skeptical.
Do you think we're forgetting the point of punitive action here? I mean, if Assad's regime has used chemical weapons, if he did cross this red line that everyone's talking about, why shouldn't he be punished militarily?
He should be punished militarily. That's why I was very disappointed last night that the president did not mention the need to help the Free Syrian Army to have a more equal situation on the battlefield. We've got 5,000 Hezbollah fighting. We've got Iranian Revolutionary Guard. We've got plane loads of weapons from Iran and from Russia coming in every single day. And I'm very disappointed because I'm sure it's a real blow to the Free Syrian Army morale.
But that's never been the point of President Obama's planned military strike, is it? I mean, he said that if a military intervention went ahead, it would be very short, it would be very limited, very narrow. John Kerry has said that it would be unbelievably small. So would it have made that kind of difference?
Well, until Bashar Assad departs, which will only be through negotiations after he believes he can't win, this conflict and slaughter is going to go on. The President of the United States told Lindsey Graham and me in the Oval Office that there were three objectives. One, degrade Bashar Assad's chemical capability. Two, support the Free Syrian Army. And three, change the battlefield momentum so that there's a negotiated departure of Bashar Assad. He didn't mention any of the last two in his speech last night.
You spoke about the Free Syrian Army. Do you feel that there is is there a concern that the Syrian rebels could feel abandoned if there isn't a military intervention?
Well, it's not a, quote, military intervention, but unless we supply them, and by the way, up until a few days ago, not one single American weapon had reached the hands of a Free Syrian Army fighter. But if they feel that we have abandoned them, which certainly was a blow to their morale, not only will it hurt their morale, but it will make them turn to more radical elements that are fighting in Syria. That is not the case now. The majority are still modern and moderates, but it could lead them to resort to relying on more radical organizations such as Al-Qaeda.
Okay, one last question, Senator. I know that John Kerry is meeting with the Syrian foreign minister in coming days, and he's meeting with the Russian foreign minister. You know, if there is a chance that President Assad can be persuaded to give up his chemical weapons and sign on to the chemical weapons convention, that's obviously a positive move. Do you think the Syrians can be persuaded?
I think that it's very questionable. I'm very skeptical. I think that there was a significant question in the minds of the Russians and Syrians and Iranians as to whether the president was actually going to launch an attack or not. I think this could be a very much of a stalling tactic. Why can't we just have a UN, if they're for this, why can't we just have a UN Security Council resolution that calls for the full accounting of the chemical weapons and their removal? It's not that complicated. Instead, we're having to negotiate with Lavrov, we're having to negotiate with the Syrian foreign minister. They're all people who continue the massacre that's now over 100,000 and continues to destabilize the region, turning it into a regional conflict.